Well, Vickie and I were both born in western Kansas. We moved to Kansas City in 1952 when my father passed away. She was 10, I was 5. It was very evident early on that Vickie was inclined to the vocation. The inspiration for that, in my opinion, no question, was my mother.
Her mom was one of the first sort of Catholic lay teachers in the diocese here in Missouri.
Very few women or anybody has had as difficult a life as our mother. She lost her 10-year-old son in an accident at home, and then 18 months later lost her husband. How she got through that was her incredible faith. I love to say that my sister, the nun, was not as good a Catholic as my mother.
And it was our senior year, and at Hogan we had a chapel. One day I saw her and she went in and came out, and she had this huge smile on her face. Her response was, "I know what I'm going to do." And that was when she made her commitment that she was going to join the Sisters of Charity.
She'll celebrate her 60th Jubilee as a Sister of Charity this year.
She loves her community. She felt a calling, and it was very strong, I think. And wow, did that work out for her.
She started out as a teacher.
She evolved from being a teacher at Ward High School to leadership at Hogan High School.
She was my first principal down at Bishop Hogan High School.
She was the principal, but she also was my Algebra 1 teacher.
Hogan was in a transition period at that time. The neighborhoods were changing, parents were seeking other options.
We were dealing with students with guns and kids who had lived in disadvantaged economic situations.
And I think firsthand she saw some of the issues that her mother had teaching at a low-income school. And so she had a unique perspective on that.
She saw a huge need there and just worked hard to fill it.
She doesn't work for the poor. She wasn't working for the high school kids, but it was with them, with the teachers, with the kids. It was that caring for each kid that she was able to express.
I think she saw individuals and was beginning to identify strengths and weaknesses in individuals and trying to figure out ways to promote everybody on their own.
After leaving Hogan, she went to the diocese and was an assistant superintendent for a year.
And then was asked to be the superintendent of schools in the Kansas City, Missouri diocese.
During that period of time, she really showed her commitment to the poor.
She took on the Gardner Institute underneath the Catholic Education Foundation. That's where I got to work with Sister Vickie.
The Gardner Institute was set up to assist the inner city schools that were underfunded. And so we would determine what their needs were, and then she would begin a campaign to address those needs.
I had this idea of providing after-school programming for kids in the urban core of Kansas City, Kansas. And I thought about it and prayed about it a lot. And I knew about this person named Sister Vickie, and so I decided to go in and talk to her about my idea. She said very simply, yes. She said, "I love it. I can find you some seed money to start. Let's do it." And it was a very easy thing for something that I kind of agonized over for a long time. She just cut through all the fluff and just made it happen. We started Learning Club with just a handful of students in the Old Blessed Sacrament grade school. Now we have 6 sites around the urban core. Most of those are public housing projects. So we serve really marginalized kids.
She was always for the underdog. She always fought for the underdog.
Vickie's an advocate for everyone and wants everybody to have the same opportunities.
I was in leadership at the time that a group of lay people came to the Sisters of Charity and said, "Would you sponsor a Cristo Rey high school?" We decided we had one person who indeed could give leadership, who had a heart for the poor, and the energy to pull this massive ministry together. And when we asked Vickie, I know she had to do her own personal discernment, but in my eyes, I just saw her yes.
When she started Cristo Rey, most people are thinking about retirement rather than building a new operation.
The vision of Cristo Rey is to take students whose social detriments say they will probably not succeed, and we are saying, with the right environment and academic excellence, we will see that these students are college bound.
She always said that if you could afford to go to Cristo Rey, you weren't eligible to go. The whole mission was to help those that couldn't afford other options.
She had them quote a maxim of our foundress, Mother Xavier Ross. And every morning our students till this day say it. Look forward to the good that is yet to be. I think Sister Vickie lives that in her life. Ever since we began with our graduating class of 2010, 100% of our seniors have been accepted into college. It is a marvelous success today because of her yes.
She, I thought, would retire after Cristo Rey.
She gets set up, running, moving, and it's time for something new.
I was introduced to Sister Vickie, and that was the end of my life as I knew it. The sisters decided that they needed to do something in Leavenworth.
They formed a task force, and they asked Vickie to head the task force, which is just to identify the needs.
What was needed was a clearinghouse so that people could access the services that are already developed. And that's what Welcome Central does. The tagline is to help you find the help you need.
She starts Welcome Central, and we discovered that there was a real homeless problem in Leavenworth that was pretty invisible.
Lo and behold, they needed a homeless shelter. So, guess who got that job?
We called together about 40 churches, and because of Sister Vickie's fearless determination, we opened a homeless shelter in 3 months.
That's what happens when Sister Vickie comes to town.
The Interfaith Shelter of Hope not only provides shelter, but they also work hard to make sure that they can read, they can write. Can we get them a job? It's how do you help them realize their God-given potential? Because if every life is sacred, every life has potential.
The work of the volunteers that keep us going, but it's the work of Sister Vickie that directs those volunteers.
Vickie says yes before no.
A lot of times people will ask themselves, well, why? And I think Sister Vickie is a person who asks, why not?
She sees what's unjust, and she cannot not respond.
Life is sacred from womb to natural death, and there's a lot of space in there where people have a lot of needs.
She really treats every person equally. And I think that's a big part of the sanctity of life, of recognizing that no one person is any more or less valuable than any other person.
I think Sister Vickie has the ability to see Christ in all people because she's a woman of prayer.
Vickie has, in her journey, chosen life so others might live.
One of the incredible things Sister Vickie has done, the Welcome Central Community of Hope clients and guests have become a family. And on occasion we lose a member of the family, and whenever that happens, we have a memorial service. One of the fellows who died, his brother came to the service. It was a homeless guy. And the brother said, I have struggled so hard with my brother. I thought he was out there by himself. I didn't know he had all of you.
I think family is important to her, and I think that love of family has benefited other people who she looks at as part of the human family.
She certainly is a model for me of what it means to be an SCL.
As Sisters of Charity, we say our virtues are humility, simplicity, and charity. And if any of our sisters exemplifies that, she does.
Sister Vickie, thank you for your humble leadership.
You are an amazing person.
Thanks for walking with each one of us.
And thank you for the impact you've made on so many lives.
And congratulations.
Congratulations.
From my dad, congratulations.
Last year at our graduation, a student got up, happened to be the valedictorian, and he said, guess what? I now know what that really means. I am looking forward to the good that is yet to be. In Vickie's mind, we are all God's favorite, and she has lived her life accordingly.